Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. As you know, coming to you raw and uncut. And please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment. Okay, raw. Man, it's just like almost pressing the rewind button. It's kind of basically more of the same show and stuff. But I'm not gonna rant, I'm not gonna rave and stuff. I'm just gonna go ahead and give it to you match by match and segment by segment. Okay, we're going to start off with Gunther coming down to the ring. And, he gets to, his booze and stuff like that and everything. He's basically saying in 5 days, it'll be the last time that we all, get to see John Cena and stuff. And he goes on and on and on and stuff, and he says that he's going to make John Cena tap out like he did LA Knight, and Jey Uso. But remember, Jey Uso tapped him out in basically 5, 10 seconds and stuff. But anyway, he's going around saying, that he's going to go and destroy John Cena, make John Cena do something that John Cena has never done and stuff. And he's going to make John Cena quit and stuff like that. Now, let me tell you this, and I'm just going to say this. If Triple H takes John Cena out like this and makes John Cena tap out or say I give and stuff, you know, I'm done. I mean, the show is already actually losing a lot of viewers and stuff. And I think at this point, if that happens to John Cena, as much as everybody loves John Cena, he gave 23 years to certain never seen 17 world champion. I mean, and the way they started with it and everything, as far as his retirement and everything, I mean, they just blew the whole retirement thing. Started off with him being trying to turn as a heel against Cody. That was a disastrous thing from the beginning and stuff. And I just can't believe, how they've done John Cena in this. And then they turn him face. And then as he turns face again, I mean, it was just like, man, I mean, what did John Cena do to Triple H and stuff? And I mean, just look at what happened to him in Survivor Series. I mean, look what happened to him when he faced Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar, woo, he destroyed John Cena. And then what happened to him at Survivor Series and stuff, and how they treated him on his last pay per view, it's just crazy. But like I said, and I still don't believe that Gunther is the one that's actually wrestling John Cena at the end. Because John Cena said he wants some new up and coming talent that could bring, that can take the company into the future and stuff. But what they're giving us right now is bullcrap. I mean, it's Gunther. Come on, what is Gunther gonna do? I mean, Gunther, if he's on the card, he's on the card. But I would never pay to go see Gunther as far as the main event. I mean, Gunther's just nothing. I mean, he's got maybe 4 or 5 moves that he does, and it's the same thing over and over and over. No athleticism from him and stuff. But anyway, let me get back because I can go on and on with that one and stuff. But basically, Gunther's saying that he's going to make John Cena give up. And then we have the match with Io Sky and Kairi Sane. And we've seen this story again. I mean, they were just in War Games and Survivor Series. And before then, they still had, they were battling with each other, you know, um, a few months ago and stuff. And it's just the same thing over and over and over. But in the match, um, it was okay, I guess. They did some pretty good high flying stuff, but there was a bunch of botches in the match also. You figure Oscar gets involved and tries to interfere, and then Rhea attacks her and stuff, throws over the barricade, and because of her interference, and then Io hits Kairi Sane with over the moonsaw, and Io Sky wins the match. And then we had the Vision backstage, and Paul. is coming up to Logan Paul is coming up to Paul Heyman saying that something needs to be done about Rey Mysterio, asking them did they see Rey slap him last week and stuff like that, and he tells Paul that he something needs to be done about it. And Paul takes him to the side and stuff, and said that they'll take care of everything, and that now that he's not by himself, he has Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed on his side. So whatever he needs done, they got his back, and basically he's saying the same thing that he has their back and stuff, So it goes on later on after that. So we get to that one. And then we have Ray getting ready to go to the ring. And then you see the New Day out there arguing with Adam Pierce. There was no volume and stuff like that. And so as Rey Mysterio is going down to the ring, he's supposed to be going up against Finn Balor. Why? I guess it was just a fill-in match from somebody with, because I don't, know them as far as, any storyline going on with them and stuff like that. But anyway, Logan Paul attacks, Rey Mysterio. He beats him up. He beats him down pretty bad. And then Rey starts to fight back and everything. And as Rey gets, the upper hand and everything, um, the guy in the hoodie and the black sweatsuit comes out. He gives a stomp to Ray, and then he runs off. And then as Ray gets up, he gets nailed by Logan Paul with those brass knuckles on. And as Logan Paul is about to get on him again, out comes LA Knight. And then LA Knight eventually challenges, Logan Paul to a match later on in the match. But like I said, we got the repeat thing, they're bringing these guys out, and it's just nothing like a filler. Logan Paul and LA Knight, they had their thing a few months ago and stuff. So we'll see what happens from there. Then, excuse me. Then we have the War Raiders going up against Dragon Lee and AJ Styles for the tag team titles and everything. And then as the match gets started, the New Day come down there to ringside, and I'm not understanding why the New Day is down there, because just last week, AJ Styles and Dragon Lee beat the New Day. So where's their fight at? Where's the argument at? And stuff, And it just doesn't make any sense. So why they're there, who knows? But anyway, the match goes on. It's a pretty decent match. And there was a point to where Dragon Lee tried 3 times to pick up Ibar, and on the third try he did. He picked him up. And that's pretty good right there. It's a lot of strength, you know. And then again by Ibar, he's as this guy is so big, this guy, he does a great spinning kick, he does cartwheels and everything, comes off the top rope, does a moonsault and stuff. For a big guy, that's good. That's good. You know, man. But anyway, the New Day tries to get the approach the ring, try to get involved and everything, and then the Usos come out and stuff, but it basically, in the end, a phenomenal forearm from AJ Lee to Ibar and everything. He puts him down 1, 2, 3. And like I said, the New Day get into the ring, and then out comes the Usos. And then when the Usos come out into the ring, the Usos are saying, that they're back. They're back as a tag team, which is great. I'm glad to see that's going to happen, And now we can open up that tag team division, you know, and wake it up and stuff. And I hope soon that the Usos win those belts. I hope it doesn't. It's not going to be all drawn out and repetitive, and stuff like that. So we're hoping that happens. Good to see the Usos that they're going to be back. Yes. Okay, and then we have Jackie Redmond, talking with Stephanie Valkair, giving the questions and stuff. And then when Stephanie gets on the mic, basically saying what she's going to say, and then she started speaking, her language and mingling it in and stuff like that. Basically, she's the champion. Nobody can beat her. She wants to see the best and fight the best and stuff like that. Same old, same old. And then Nikki Bella comes out and everything. And Nikki Bella gets on the ring, and Raquel Rodriguez comes out, snatches her down um, from the ring and everything, and beats her down a little bit and stuff. I mean, it's crazy. So you got a heel jumping the heel and stuff. But anyway, and then Raquel gets in Stephanie's face, and then she wants challenge her, for the women's title and stuff. And then as they come, and then backstage, Liv is asking Raquel, what was she doing and stuff like that. I guess Raquel say, look, she's trying to get, a shot at the champion. She wasn't trying to climb nobody's toes, but, she was already working on that. And then Raquel leaves, and then Liv tells, Roxanne, hey, look, since Raquel's trying to get, the world title, then we together, we can get the tag title. So I believe Liv and Roxanne will be feuding for those for the women's tag title. Then we get the match with Roxanne Perez and Lyra Valkair and stuff. The match is okay and everything. We got our little interference with Liv and everything, and then Roxanne Perez hits Lyra Valkyria with Pop Rocks and wins the match. Then we had a little backstage thing with Maxine Dupree with Natalie and stuff like that. She's still in training and stuff. You got the Intercontinental Women's Champion in training. Okay, make that make sense. But anyway, we get the match with LA Knight and Logan Paul and stuff. And the matches, it was okay. It was going back and forth and everything until we get some interference from Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. They come out. And once they come out, all crap breaks out and everything, because, LA, I mean, LA Knight's going to fight back. And then we get Bronson Reed that gives him a headbutt and everything. And then Logan Paul ends up hitting him with a splash and everything that wins the match. And then as they're, doing their little thing and stuff, I mean, they go backstage and Bronson Reed and whew, Bronson Reed and Logan Paul, they beat and destroy LA Knight. He gets a tsunami on top of a car. But in the meantime, you got Paul Heyman, out there, and he's, introducing Braun Breaker as, the future again and stuff like that. And then Braun Breaker is basically saying that he wants to face CM Punk, not the CM Punk of today, but the CM Punk that was about 12, 15 years ago, the old school CM Punk, who really basically didn't he didn't care about anything. CM Punk then was great in the ring, and stuff like that. And he's basically saying that, he doesn't want to fight the CM Punk of, that's of today with a crowd pleaser, a face and all that stuff, and he told him, he said, CM Punk that, he's going to take his title. And as taking his title, he said he's going to take his wife too. Now, that was some pretty badass words to be saying to a man about his wife. So I'm sure that's going to be pretty, 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 pretty pretty crazy once CM Punk actually responds to that and stuff. And I mean, we haven't seen CM Punk, and I don't know why he wasn't there tonight, or even John Cena even being there after what Gunther said. So I'm thinking that, John Cena may be filming. I know CM Punk is dealing with the passing of his dog, Larry, and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens and stuff like that. But then back to Bronson Reed, as he's going, he says it's going to be like he just started going crazy about it's gonna be one, two, three. It's gonna be oh man. So, man, Braun Breaker, yeah, he could be the champion. He could do something in January and stuff. I mean, after they destroyed LA Knight and stuff, and they came back to the ring and stuff, with Braun Breaker, that was the end of the show. But we need more. I'm saying we need more. But anyway, you know, um, the show tonight, like I said, it was predictable. It's repeat, it's like hitting it on rerun or rewind and stuff. It's the same thing. You know, week to week to week to week to week and stuff. I'm just hoping that the writing gets better. But if John Cena loses to Gunther Saturday, I'm done. I'm thinking a lot of people are going to be done too. And I like what I'm doing because I just got started doing it and stuff. And I just can't believe this is going to happen. Hopefully it's just a clean pin, like they do with some of the guys that do go out. I can't. One match that that really sticks in my head that was really great is when Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair, and when Shawn Michaels retired Ric Flair, with Sweet Chin Music and stuff. I mean, that's how things are supposed to be. And then he passes off torch to Shawn Michaels, and Shawn Michaels did great things after that. Gunther, I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening and stuff. But anyway, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment. Thank you for watching. God bless. Deuces, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.